This is something you guys have been asking for nonstop. School lockdown stories. It honestly took a while, but I finally found 3 stories that all happened during real lockdowns at schools. Nothing about these stories feels dramatic at first. They all start off like completely normal school days, until they suddenly aren't. It was a Friday afternoon during 7th period calculus. Everyone was restless. Spring break was coming up, and nobody was really focused on anything. We weren't even taking a test that day, so our teacher, who was usually pretty laid back, decided to pull up Sporkle on the projector and let us play trivia games instead. People were shouting answers, laughing, just killing time. I still remember the exact moment everything changed. Right after my friend answered a question correctly, Adidas, the loudspeaker, crackled on. It was the dean's voice, but he didn't sound normal. His voice was shaky, almost rushed, and the first thing he said was, "This is not a drill. All teachers, initiate lockdown immediately." I felt chills run through my entire body. Our teacher froze for just a second before his mood completely changed. He ran to shut off the lights, locked the classroom door, and motioned for us to move to the back corner of the room. We all crowded together on the floor, completely silent. About 2 minutes passed. Then, the faint buzzing sound from the electrical panel in the back of the room suddenly stopped. The power was gone. Everyone looked at each other, realizing this was serious. A few minutes later, we heard screaming. A man's voice echoed down the hallway. It didn't sound angry at first, it sounded unhinged. 2 girls in my class started crying quietly, which only made the tension worse. The screaming got closer. Then we heard banging. Loud metal crashes as the man slammed into lockers while yelling at the top of his lungs. "I'll kill all of you." My heart was pounding so hard it hurt. I remember thinking that if he reached our room, there was nowhere to go. The banging stopped at our classroom door. The handle rattled. One of the girls screamed "no," without even realizing she had said it out loud. The man started slamming into the door over and over again, screaming nonsense. It felt like it went on forever, even though it probably only lasted a minute or 2. Then suddenly, it stopped. His footsteps moved away down the hallway, and the screaming slowly faded. About 10 minutes later, the dean came back on the loudspeaker. He explained that a mentally unstable man had entered the school and assaulted the woman at the front desk, causing her to run out of the building. Staff didn't know if the man was armed. At the time, the school had no cameras and barely any security. Anyone could walk right in. Classes were told to continue, but all doors had to remain locked. The most disturbing part came later that night. A janitor working the evening shift found the man asleep inside a storage closet near the back of the school. Rumors spread that there was a .44 Magnum sticking out of his pocket. By the time police arrived, he was gone. To this day, no one I know ever found out what happened to him. My middle school had 2 lunch periods. The lockdown happened during the first one, early in October. The weather was gray and rainy that day. I was sitting with friends when we suddenly heard 4 loud booms. At first, I thought it was thunder. Then the entire lunch area erupted into screaming. Campus security rushed in, yelling for everyone to get inside the multi-purpose room immediately. Kids in line for lunch were forced to throw their food away and run inside. Adults blocked every exit. The back wall of the room was made of glass, and staff quickly closed the curtains so no one could see outside. Everyone was whispering, trying to figure out what was happening. My friend Eric asked one of the adults what was going on. When he came back, his face looked pale. He told us that a man living across the street had barricaded himself inside his house. Police were outside, and the man was threatening to kill them and himself if they tried to evict him. But what scared us most was that he had been standing outside earlier, watching kids through the school fence. Later, we found out he was a registered sex offender. We stayed locked inside the room for over an hour. When it was finally over, we were escorted back to class, one group at a time. That's when my friend Brandy told us something unsettling. The previous Halloween, she saw that same man standing in his window. He had cut his arm and was writing on the glass with his own blood. It said, "Don't come here or I'll kill you." Everyone had assumed it was a Halloween decoration. After the lockdown, no one thought that anymore. I was 22 years old when this happened. I had just graduated college and got a job working as a computer intern at my old high school. My office was in the basement, where all the servers were kept. The office itself was nice, but it didn't have a door, and the basement door didn't even lock properly. One afternoon, I got a call from the front office telling me the school was going into lockdown. Someone possibly armed had entered the building. I shut off the lights on my computer screen and sat quietly in the dark. Minutes passed. Then I heard the basement door creak open. Footsteps came down the stairs. Fast. Someone entered my office but didn't turn on the lights. I slid under my desk, barely breathing. My phone buzzed. I thought my heart stopped. A man suddenly grabbed my arm and whispered that he was hiding too. He said he was there to pick up his son and had been told to hide. He was wearing a red plaid shirt and a red hat. Then my phone buzzed again. It was a text from my coworker. Some guy with a gun shot Mr. Buckley. He's wearing a red shirt and hat. Do not come upstairs. I looked up at the man standing next to me. He noticed the look on my face. I ran. A gunshot echoed through the basement, and I heard the bullet hit metal behind me. I made it upstairs just as police were surrounding the exits. They caught the man immediately. Mr. Buckley survived. But I still hear that gunshot sometimes, when everything gets quiet. School lockdowns are supposed to keep people safe. But for the people in these stories, they became moments that never really leave them. If you want more true stories like these, the kind that don't make the news and usually never get talked about, go ahead and subscribe. Most of the stories shared here come from people who actually lived through them. And if you've ever experienced something like this yourself, you can share it in the comments. I do read them.